Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where...
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like...
Fucker! You fucker! Fucker!
Oh!
Huh? What the f...
Hello again, this is Bionic Slime, back again with another movie review, and this time the movie I will be reviewing is Duplicity. Duplicity stars Clive Owen, Julia Roberts, Tom Wilkinson, and Paul Giamatti, and is directed by Tony Gilroy. The plot. Ray Koval, played by Clive Owen, is an undercover spy agent who goes from different companies extorting money and pulling them in for his own personal business. He unfortunately loses all of his game, speed, and his confidence when he suffers a humiliating defeat, if you could call that, after a one-night stand with Claire Steinwick, played by Julia Roberts, who is also an undercover agent. After many years, many encounters, and many steamy relationship issues, the two are brought back together for extorting the same con. Turns out that Howard Tully, played by Tom Wilkinson, and Richard Garsick, played by Paul Giamatti, are two warring rival business CEOs who have been fighting over for CEO turf for many, many years. However, it turns out that Howard Tully has a new product that will supposedly blow the lid off all markets. Now, Richard Garsick wants to have that product before Tully can release it. Unfortunately, so do Ray and Claire. So it turns into a espionage race as to see who can find out what the product is, who can get it, and who can make the most money off of it. Of course, the only problem is Ray and Claire don't even know if they can trust each other, let alone the people that they're extorting the money from. Review of the plot. As you can kind of tell by my jumbled synopsis there, the movie is very, very tricky. It's a slick, very crafty espionage kind of scheming kind of movie. It has like an Ocean's 11 kind of feel to it. It's actually a very clever idea for a story when you think about it, because when trust is when you obliterate trust from the equation, it makes things a lot more interesting, especially considering that you have two people who are either totally in love with each other or totally hateful of each other, and then throw in the cons, the tricks, the misconceptions, and the espionage, and it makes things very interesting. And the idea of having two warring CEOs fighting over the rights over the same product is kind of something we would expect to see nowadays, because people tend to do that. So it's nice to have a sense of realism in a sense of the whole competition thing. It makes for a believable and amusing story to fold out, particularly to see Tom Wilkinson and Paul Giamatti beat the crap out of each other like they're in Matrix slow motion while fighting and biting each other and fall in the water. It's one of the funnier scenes of the movie. It actually has a lot of twists and turns. It's a very smart movie, very intelligent. It's not too smart or too stupid. But you do have to keep paying attention to what's going on. It's a very crafty movie, very clever, and there's a lot of smart talk going around, so be mindful of that. Review of the characters. The characters in here, there's nothing really special or nothing really original in terms of who we're seeing. The whole idea of having spies fighting with each other is only interesting if the people are very diverse in their personalities, and in this case, we kind of get that. Clive Owen and Julia Roberts really do have great chemistry together in this scene. They don't have a lot really to work with in terms of character personality, but what they make up for is the way they work together. Their little bickering back and forth, their smart quips to each other. It's very good how they click together, and I particularly thought this was good for Clive Owen, since I haven't seen him in much. I didn't care for him much as an actor, except for like in more obvious over-the-top roles, like say Shoot 'Em Up or Sin City. But he managed to work it out pretty nicely here. Julia Roberts, this may sound mean, but I don't think she's been aging gracefully. I have not seen a movie with her in years, but if this is how she looks now, then that's all I got to say on that. I don't mean to sound mean. She was all right. She was good. She was not grand. Let's just put it that way. I definitely think probably the best casting choices had to be Tom Wilkinson and Paul Giamatti as the two warring CEOs. They were just brilliant. Even though there was not a lot of time spent on them, the scenes they had were great. I love both of those actors. They're both some of my personal favorites, particularly Paul Giamatti, and they both bring their own likable and loathsome flares to their characters. Their performances and delivery of dialogue, it all works very well with who they are and who they're playing. So I'm very glad that they pick such enjoyable actors for those roles. Visuals and music. Visually, the movie is very sharp. Again, very very classy kind of. There's a lot of like scenes splitting up, stuff like that. Again, very Ocean's 11 kind of stuff like that. It's a very crisp looking movie with a lot of quick shots, close-ups, facial shots. It's a very in-your-face kind of movie because it's relying on spies and espionage. You're focusing on the people's faces and the words they're saying and all the little secrets they're spilling out as the movie goes on. So you got to have a lot of that. And in that regard, the movie excels. Music's very kind of snappy, kind of, again, I keep going back to this, but like thief-ish kind of music. Sorry. And it's good. It fits the film. It has the same edge to it. It makes me feel like I'm watching another film like Bank Job or Matchstick Men, or like I said again, Ocean's 11. It's very similar to those movies. So let's put it this way: if you like those movies and how they were shot and how they were used as music, then you should like this pretty equally. Cons about the movie. Aside from the movie being extremely intelligent and very well written, very well crafted, it's a great script. My biggest complaint in here is the lack of diversity amongst the attention. I don't think they evened out the spotlight to the actors fairly. I know the story is about Ray and Claire, or Clive Owen and Julian Roberts. I know this is about them and the relationship, and they show a great deal amount of them and how their relationship develops, which is another good strong point of the story. But they tend to ignore all the other characters. You don't even really find out most of their names. They don't really give you much about them, and it's a shame because they could have done so much more with the other people around them. I mean, they give you enough time to soak up the relationship between Clive Owen and Julia Roberts that at times their little mind games and little espionage tricks with each other become repetitive. And I was particularly disappointed because Tom Wilkinson and Paul Giamatti really excelled in the few scenes you see them as the CEOs. They don't really get enough screen time. In Tom Wilkinson, who was cast before Paul Giamatti, barely had any scenes, and Paul Giamatti was listed last, and he had even more scenes. I don't think they used those two properly. I think they had a very funny concept with CEO head bosses beating each other like whiny little bitches and just arguing over all this property and product stuff. I thought that was a great concept, but they wasted it, and they didn't really bring it to fruition. But on the plus side, I forgot to mention this for the pros in the story. It also has a very brilliant ending. I mean, I rarely see movies that have an awesome, excellent ending that just feels covers everything, and this ending really does it. It really fits in with the perfectional espionage trickery of the story. It's a very trust-filled movie, very filled with mistrust, deception, lies. Is she playing with my head? Is she messing with my mind? That kind of thing. So, let's see. Final wrap-up. In conclusion, I'd say this movie is definitely something you should see if you're looking for something a little more slow-paced, a little more compelling in terms of acting and writing. And if you're looking for a fresh, smart movie that relies more on script and words rather than explosions and boobs and gore. On the downside, they wasted some excellent characters they could have used. I don't think they gave everyone their fair shade in the limelight, and I think that the obsession just showing us the relationship kind of overpowered the other characters and didn't make them as useful as they could be. On the other hand, the story is very smart, very fresh. It's an enjoyable, not thrilling movie without having explosions and car chases. It's a solid cast with well-written roles and well-written dialogue that the actors seem to blend right into. All in all, I would say I give Duplicity 2.5 stars out of 5. Well, that's all for now. This has been Bionic Slime. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.